David and Claire had been married for 6 years. Their marriage wasn't perfect, but it had always been rooted in love, or at least that's what David believed. Lately, though, Claire had changed. She had become colder, sharper with her words, constantly comparing David to other men. Wealthier men, more ambitious ones, men who, in her eyes, had something David lacked. At first, David dismissed it. Maybe it was stress, maybe it would pass. But as weeks dragged into months, her attitude hardened. And then came the night that changed everything. Claire sat David down, her tone detached and rehearsed. She laid out an ultimatum. If he loved her, truly loved her, he'd quit his stable job and invest their savings into a risky business venture she had been dreaming about. No plan, no guarantees, just a leap of faith fueled by emotion. David listened quietly, then responded with calm logic. Their savings weren't enough. The risk was too great. He suggested a more measured approach, saving, planning, building together, but Claire scoffed, calling him spineless, boring, afraid to chase something bigger. The insults landed hard, but David kept his composure. He reminded her they had just paid off their mortgage. That security mattered. That love wasn't proven through recklessness. But Claire didn't want patience. She wanted proof. And so she delivered her ultimatum. Either he supported her dream now, or she would leave. David looked into her eyes and saw it. This wasn't a bluff. She genuinely believed she could bully him into submission, that her threat would be enough. The days that followed were tense. Claire sulked, slammed doors and whispered venom to her friends, painting David as the man who stifled her ambition. What she didn't realize was that each outburst chipped away at the love he had fought so hard to preserve. Then, one evening, after yet another explosive argument, Claire crossed a line. "If you're not going to support me," she said with a smirk, "maybe I should just pack my things and leave." She expected panic, a desperate apology, a change of heart. Instead, David stood, walked to the closet and returned with a suitcase. "Then go," he said, his voice calm but resolute. Claire froze. She had played her final card and it had failed, miserably. In that moment, she realized the truth. Her ultimatum hadn't bent him. It had broken the very foundation of their marriage. She backtracked quickly, insisting it was a test, a bluff, a way to see if he'd fight for her. But David had heard enough. "Marriage isn't a test," he said quietly. "You don't threaten love to measure its depth. The moment you made me choose between our future and your pride, you chose for both of us." Tears came, but it was too late. Within a week, Claire moved out. She spun the story her way, telling friends that David had thrown her away, that he hadn't believed in her. But the truth surfaced. Her own friends, once sympathetic, admitted she had pushed too far. Her ultimatum, meant to control, had cost her everything. David, though deeply hurt, felt something unexpected: peace. For the first time in years, the house was quiet, free from tension, free from walking on eggshells. He began to rebuild piece by piece. He focused on work, reconnected with old friends, and rediscovered who he was before love became a battlefield. Claire tried to reach out months later. Messages, apologies, promises that it would be different. But David never responded. Forgiveness? Maybe. One day? But trust? That was gone. Because love, he had learned, doesn't survive ultimatums. It isn't proven through manipulation or threats. It thrives in respect, in patience, in two people working with each other, not against. In the end, Claire's power play became her undoing. She had gambled everything and lost. David walked away wiser, stronger, and more grounded than ever. And as he stood in the quiet of his new life, he understood something simple but powerful. Sometimes the strongest kind of love is the one you choose to let go.